Hey guys, I'm Charley and this is Yoga4Dancers. Thank you for tuning in for our alignment focused class. So today we're going to be breaking down and looking at two very traditional sequences that you might commonly find in a yoga class. So we're going to look at Sun Salutation A and B, also known as Surya Namaskar. Now, sun salutes, there are loads of different varieties, ways of teaching them. So I thought we'd just break down these two. We'll look at each pose, we'll look at each transition and try to link the breath so you can start to familiarize yourself with the poses and get a bit more comfortable and even confident with them. I'll try to offer options where available. If at any time you feel like I'm going a little bit fast and you want to pause or repeat, go back, that's totally cool. You go at your own pace. And a sun salute is really, all it is just a number of poses strung together to create a sequence or a flow so we can start to build heat and warm up our bodies. So when you're ready, let's get going. Okay, so come to stand at the top of your mat. And starting the sequence, you can either choose to have your feet more of a parallel position, as I'm choosing, but if you feel a bit more stable, it's quite traditional to have the big toes to touch and maybe a little bit of space between the heels. If this feels more stable for you and you want to work here, that's fine. So just take a moment to kind of feel into the feet. Maybe you decide to have a little play of both. Maybe you rock around all four corners of the feet. You can spread the toes nice and wide, bend and stretch the legs a couple times, just rocking the weight a little until you kind of find a placement for your legs that feels nice and stable and grounded. And once your feet are nice and glued, you're going to find an aliveness up through the legs, so drawing up the thighs. Maybe just take a nice roll of the shoulders, draw them down your back. And there's a little turning out of your palms here. So you're slightly opening forward and up, and the top of the head is growing tall. So this is our mountain pose, Tadasana. Now, as you keep rooting the feet down, on your inhale breath, circle the arms wide. If you haven't got space, you can send the fingertips forward and up. You're coming into Urdhva Hastasana, so you're really reaching towards the ceiling as you follow the gaze towards the hands. Letting the palms meet in a prayer. As you breathe out, maybe you bend the knees, folding through your center. If you're not quite warm yet, to place the palms down, I take a nice generous bend in your forward fold. Maybe just check. What I often see is that people are lifting the head here without even realizing. So see if you can really drop the chin in. Just for the sake of this first round, maybe you give the head a little shake and take a couple breaths here. And then go ahead on your next inhale breath. Knees can stay a little bit buoyant and soft here if you like. Start to slide the palms across the shins, just below the knees. Feel a sense of squeezing your shoulder blades together. And I want to avoid using the word flat back here. I'd rather you sort of acknowledge the natural curve of your spine, but think about lengthening the crown of your head away from your tailbone. So this is your halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Then it's your exhale breath that you re-find your forward fold, Uttanasana. Plant the palms down and step your right leg to plank, left leg to join it. Now if you like here and you need to lower your knees down, that's absolutely fine. You can lower them down. Just check that you're spreading through the fingers in your high plank, and we're not dipping the belly down or dipping into the shoulder blades. There's a real pressing down, a sort of doming into the upper back. Legs are strong. Just check that your eyes are relaxed and your face is relaxed, but your core is nice and strong. Take a breath in here. Then as you exhale, lowering the knees if they're not there already. Releasing the toes, and you're coming all the way down onto the chest. Keep the elbows hugged nice and close. And you can see that I haven't rounded my shoulders. I'm really still actively squeezing them on my back body. Keep the palms as they are, just sliding the chest forward and up. It's a small back bend. This is our Cobra Pose. So the tendency here is the elbows wing out. So keep squeezing them in. Activate the tops of the feet, and you're not lifting the chin, crunching the neck. The neck is nice and in line. As you next breathe out, slowly lower back down, pressing over your knees. Tucking the toes, lifting the hips, come into your downward facing dog. If you want to here on your first dog, maybe take a little walk out through the feet as you find a few breaths Maybe gently release the head. And just knowing here, as you spread the weight through your hands and your feet, there might be a soft bend in the knees, so there's a sense of buoyancy here. Rather than thinking that you've got to jam the heels down, you might find more of a release through the spine as you bend the knees. So up to you. Then finding some stillness, send your gaze somewhere between the heels or the toes, or maybe even slightly beyond your mats. Just check that there isn't sort of this shrugging up of the shoulders. So you want to find space around the ears. Let's take a nice generous breath in here and sighing it out. Next breath in, we're lifting the heels, bringing the gaze forward to the palms. Bend the knees deep so they're sort of nice and springy. And just stepping, if you need to take a couple steps, you can do, or just one after the other. Refine the placement of your feet, either hips width or toes touching. Head is heavy, forward folds. Inhale to that halfway lift. Hands to shins. As you did before, crown of the head goes forward, tailbone goes back. Fold, drop the torso as you exhale over the legs. A little bend in your knees if you like here. Send the arms wide or forward and up, coming to our Urdhva Hastasana as you did to begin with. And then collecting prayer to heart center as you exhale. And then you're lowering your palms down. That's our first sequence, Sun Salutation A. So let's just take it again, nice and steady, so we can break down the poses in that same way, so you're still familiarizing yourself with the movements. And I know I'm clearly saying when to inhale and exhale, but as we've got pauses in between, if you want to let your breath just flow freely and it's more comfortable for you, totally do that whilst we're going nice and steady. Standing in your mountain pose, Tadasana. Root down through the feet. Big breath in, circle the arms high, Urdhva Hastasana. Follow your exhale breath, coming into that forward fold. Release the head. Halfway lift as you inhale, hands towards the shins. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, draw the belly in. Then you're exhaling to plant the palms, step it into your high plank. Option to lower the knees, remember here, switching on the arms, switching on the legs. It's almost like you're in that hood of your upper back again. If you want to fire it up a little bit more here, you can shoot maybe 3 or 4 inches, like you're using the toes, shooting the body forward. If you're lowering the knees, take the version we did before, or you're lowering halfway down. This is Chaturanga, it's like a half press up. Inhale, this time your pelvis hangs down. You're hugging your hands to center. It's a deeper back bend. You're in upward facing dog, shining the heart towards the ceiling. Then use your exhale, chin to chest. Step over the toes and you're here, downward facing dog. Your other option is to slowly press over the knees to your down dog. When you arrive here, we'll take 5 full breaths. In and out through the nose. Seeing if you can keep spreading that weight evenly through the hands and the feet. Maybe soften the knees. 2 more breaths. Last breath. Maybe there's a sigh. Lifting the heels, gaze to your palms, bending the knees. If you're ready, take a little hop, or you can step your way there, forward folds. Lifting Ardha Uttanasana, your halfway lift. Hands to shins, open the heart. Exhale, fold. Coming all the way to stand, reaching the arms tall as you ground through the feet. Inhale. And exhale, prayer to heart center. Lower the palms, Tadasana. There we go, Sun Salutation A. I feel like it would be really nice to take it one more time, with one breath at a time. I'll obviously guide you through, but if I'm going a little bit fast, please take your time, take a pause where you need to. But as it starts to make sense with your body, maybe the breath can also be a clear connection with the poses and the movement. Let's give this one last time. Standing tall, rooting through the feet, mountain pose, Tadasana. Inhale, circle the arms, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, folding Uttanasana, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, either lower the knees or lower halfway down, Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, we'll meet downward facing dog. 5 breaths here when you land. Nice grounding breath. 3 more. And let the gaze be relaxed. And when you take this last breath, go ahead and let it fall through the mouth. Inhale, lifting the heels, gaze to the palms. Bend the knees deep. Either hop or simply step to the top of your mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, fold deep. Come to stand. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. And then collect. Prayer to heart center. Standing mountain pose. Go ahead and give yourself a little shake out if you need to. Now that you're starting to feel hopefully a little bit warmer in the body, we'll continue going into our Sun Salutation B. So it starts a little bit different, but still quite similar. So again, finding your feet, either hips width, more of a parallel, or toes touching, finding that mountain pose. This time as you inhale, you're gonna sink back into a chair pose called Utkatasana. So if you're like me with the knees, on the feet hips width, you want to avoid this tendency of letting the knees knock in and everything falls out of alignment. So you're really switching on the legs. If your toes are touching, you're squeezing the thighs. And if this feels like a comfortable chair pose, you want to sink even deeper and bring your weight back into the heels as you draw the shoulders down and send the gaze high. So you might even start to find a little shake here. Your stomach is engaged, so navel draws into spine. Maybe find a soft gaze if you can, a little smile. Inhale and exhale as you've been doing. Fold over the legs, extend them if you can, release the heads. Same sequence, lifting halfway, hands to shins. Exhale, plant the palms down. You're stepping into that high plank. Remember, you can lower the knees and lower the chest down. You can take this option. Inhale either, as I'm doing now, Cobra, or in a deeper back bend, up dog. Exhale your journey back to downward facing dog. Just take a moment to land here. Now continuing on, or adding on rather, really simply just stepping your right foot forward by your right thumb. So your right toes now will stay facing forward and your left foot's going to turn out, step a little bit wider. We haven't opened that left hip. The idea is that it still stays relatively square. And as you rise, maybe just bringing hands to hips for this first time, because you'll see that the left hip will want to open. So you might need to take a bit of a wider stance. So just have a little feel around in your legs here. So it's almost like that left hip is trying to draw forward and you're stacking your right knee over that right ankle. Now when you're ready here, you can rise the fingers high. But you want to avoid flaring the bottom 2 ribs. So nipping the bottom 2 ribs here to support and avoid collapsing in the lower back. And if you like, you can look up here towards the hands. This is your warrior 1. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, pivot on your back toe so you can come down, framing the right foot, stepping into your high plank. It's your transition here, either halfway down or lower the knees. Inhale is your back bend of choice. Exhale to downward facing dog. Take a breath here if you need it. And then repeating it on the second side, left foot steps forward. Take your time to feel a sense of rooting here in the foot. Adjust your back foot, so you're turning the right toes out and the right heel in. Again, it might take a little shuffle to find the placement. And just bring the hands to the hips this first time, so you can really see if you need to adjust that back foot or front foot. Stacking your left knee above the left ankle. Supporting your lower back by drawing your navel to spine, nipping those bottom two ribs in. Maybe rise the fingers, maybe rise the nose, the gaze. Take a breath in. So it's the same sensation. Think about rooting through that back heel as well. As you send the energy down, you're also sending some of it up towards the sky. Slowly coming down on your exhale, framing the left foot. Your little transition here. Remember, if you need to lower the knees, exhale, lower the knees and chest. Inhale, your back bend. Exhale, take it to downward facing dog. And you've got 5 full breaths. If you're starting to tire, maybe you take these breaths in a child's pose. You can lower the knees down. That's absolutely fine. And this is a long, slow breath in and out through the nose to sort of set, to reroute. 2 more. And last breath. Maybe there's a sigh. If you're in child's pose, join me back in downward facing dog. Lifting the heels, gaze to your palms. Bend the knees deep, either step or you're hopping to the top of your mat. Forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Now from here, coming into your chair pose, so bring the weight back into your heels. Sink your bum down. Whatever placement you're in with your feet, remember, if you're like me, knees track over the toes. If the toes are touching, you're squeezing the thighs. Look up towards the palms. Inhale. Then exhale. Breath to heart center. Lower the palms. Tadasana. Take a long, big breath in. And sighing it out. Let's do this one final time to really let it sink in. This is our Sun Salutation B. So standing tall. Take a moment to reroute, reground. Let's take another breath in. And a soft release out. Inhale, chair pose. Sink the pelvis back. Rise the fingers. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, your halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms down. Keep exhaling as you come down, either onto the chest or halfway, Chaturanga. Inhale, your back bend. Hug your hands to center, feel your heart lift. Exhale, downwards, facing dog. Take a moment here, just arrive, slow down. And when you're ready, stepping your right foot forward, left toes turn out. Find your base first. One breath to rise, warrior one, inhale. Exhale, palms come down, your transition. Inhale, your back bend. Exhale, downward, facing dog. Let's keep going, left foot forward, right foot adjusts. Find both feet, let them really glue down. Take your time as you rise. Inhale and exhale, finding the floor. Your transition, last time. Inhale, your back bend. Exhale to downward facing dog. 5 breaths. If you need to come down, lower the knees. Take some breaths here. Re-slow the breath. 2 more. Last one. Maybe there's a side to clear. If you're in child's, journey back to downward facing dog. Lifting the heels, gaze to your hands. Bend the knees, either step or last little hop, forward fold, Uttanasana. Lifting halfway, go long, open the chest. Exhale, folds. Come into your chair pose, final time. Pull the weight back into the heels, inhale. Exhale, collect. Breath to heart center. Then standing tall, Tadasana. Take a big breath in. And let something go. Give yourself a little shake out. So I'm definitely feeling nice and warm. Hopefully you are as well. So those are two really common sequences that you would find in a yoga class. So feel free to revisit this video, practice them again and again until they start to really make sense for you. And there's no rush here. So it might take a long time until the breath and the movement makes sense. So be patient with yourself and enjoy. Thanks, guys.